we are going to enjoy his speech, which is entitled Shifting the Numbers. Toastmaster Mike Owen, Shifting the Numbers.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Memorial Day, just around the corner, this Monday. Are you prepared for the weekend? Memorial Day is one of our most sacred and solemn holidays, particularly for those who've had people, family, relatives, or adored people who have given that ultimate sacrifice, dying while on active military duty. Doesn't include all the rest of them that lived through going to war, but those who gave their full life. Well, I'm gonna go back here. 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. But there was not much out there, except a few pieces of land. There were no big ships, and there were certainly no big naval battles out in the middle of nowhere. If there were some, they went along the coastline. But less shipboard. 450 years in 1942. Things are quite different. We talked about several weeks ago the Doolittle raid of April the 14th, 1942, where they took off from an aircraft carrier close to Japan. Not quite close enough because they ran out of fuel, but they were able to bomb Tokyo. This is some of what we talked about at that point. They took off, expected to take off in here, but they had to take off back here. They got to Tokyo, many of them went down, and crash landed down in China. One went up into Russia. That frightened the Japanese. They had a plan of dominating the Pacific, and this made them realize that they were vulnerable. They did not expect that anybody could approach their homeland. Admiral Yamamoto knew he had to do something different. They continued to raid all down through the area south of Japan, along this line where you see it's just masses coming all the way down to just north of Australia. They captured Singapore, they captured the Philippines, they captured places along the coast of Asia. But he wanted to expand it to the west because the Doolittle raid had been able to sneak in close enough to get to them. So he came up with a big plan, and that plan was to go and attack a little base we had at the Midway Atoll. And that is at the end of the Hawaiian chain. A lot of small little dots along proceed away from the major islands to the northwest. And we had a force there, a landing base and a few Marines. And he wanted to run us away from there because that would expand his perimeter. But there were many questions to that. Our forces had been knocked out in Pearl Harbor, and again, they had lost some ships down in the Coral Sea, and we only had a few aircraft carriers, and my battleship were gone. But they picked up a piece of communication where they determined that the Japanese were definitely going to attack Midway. They picked that up through analysts and analysis and things that showed, and they played a little trick to verify, as you've probably seen in the movies. But what do you do with that? When you're weak, when you want to fight in Germany according to your national policy, fight there first instead of the Japanese, do you take the risk? They had the intelligence, but they had lost the Lexington in the Battle of the Coral Sea, and they had a very damaged Yorktown that the Japanese thought they had sunk because they damaged it shop to be fixed. And then one of their main commanders, Admiral Oswald, ends up having to be in the hospital. Do you play it safe, or do you play it smart? Do you risk the country's ships or not? Well, the U.S. was outmanned. The Japanese had 4 carriers, we had only 3. The Japanese had battleships, we had none. We had a few more heavy cruisers, but they had behind them tons of support, over 200 ships. But we went anyway. Down in this area is where Midway would lie. But the scope of these battles is amazing, because we're talking about distances of hundreds of miles. They sorted around 300 miles north of Midway. That's like Boca Raton to Jacksonville. And you're going to fight an enemy who's way up there at some point, but you don't know whether he's over here or there, but we know he's way out there. So there's a lot of confusion, but the big thing was they thought we were in home base. And we weren't. We come down to attack them. And we went through a series of things you'll hear about on TV and read through that. But they tried to attack. They went into Midway first, coming in from way out here to the west. Coming into Midway there at the bottom of your screen. And we sent in search planes out looking for them, trying to find them. They thought all the activity was coming from Midway for the longest time, and did not realize that our carriers were out here. And ultimately, around 10 o'clock in the morning, after several attacks from the mainland and one of the other carriers that had done absolutely no effect, that we ended up getting 3 destroyers all at once and just knocked them out. Nimitz had made the decision to fight. Admiral Spruance had sent out Commander McCloskey